Hello YouTubers. Well, a little bit of a repair video this time. Uh, one of the previous videos here when I was baling some hay here, I caught either a stick on the edge of a field or a weird lump of hay or something got turned in the baler there when I was starting a bale, and it rolled the belt, and I ripped the belt and had to relace it. And while I was checking over the baler here, I found I got another one that's getting a little bit raggedy on the where they call the lacings in the belts on these things. So anyways, we're going to take you along here and show you the process of retrimming the end of one of these baler belts and relacing it, they call. So anyways, we're going to get right to it and not going to delay. Here we go. Okay, so what I got here is my New Holland BR780 round baler. It's what they call a roll belt baler. It's got steel rolls in the front that start the bale, and then you have your rubber belts in the back. I mean, they all work on the kind of the same principle. These New Hollands are a little bit different. Still make them to the same way to this day. They've made them like this for, well, the last 25 years, I guess, or whatever. John Deere's are belts all the way from front to back, and a few of the other brands, but they all work on the same principle. It's an expanding chamber, and there's a hydraulic tensioner and an override spring system that keeps tension on the bale as it's picking up the hay and baling. But anyways, getting onto it here, I got this one belt pulled out here because let's see, where's the end here? I already got the main belt here. This is what I'm talking about when I call about these lacings here. This is they use this on industrial belting in the industry on big wide. These are, I think, originally a 7-inch belt. These are a 7-inch belt from the factory. Different balers use different widths of belts. In industrial systems, you can have anything from 4-inch up to 3-4 feet wide or whatever in a conveyor system or whatever. They all use a different type of lacings, but there's some pretty common ones though. This is called a clipper style lacing. It's a very fine fine mesh style lacing. Now what you have here, you've got this lacing on the end, and then you've got these keeper wires here. You put this one here, and then you have an intermeshing or mating one that slips in between these slots here, and then they have these keeper wires here that you put into the end here, and then you run them all the way through like that, and that's what holds the two ends of the belts together. They've been around a long time, so like I say, there's a couple different styles. There's this clipper style, and then there's what they call the alligator style. The alligator style, I think John Deere uses those, but some farmers just convert to whatever they want. I know some guys have New Holland balers with the alligator clipping in them, alligator clips or lacings in them, and there's the clipper belt lacings in their John Deeres. So I mean, it's a personal preference, and this is what New Holland had from factory, or the clipper ones, and I stayed with it because I don't mind. It's a little bit easier, it seems, to work with. I've got the special clamping tool, or the lacing tool. I'll show you that here in a second, and I'll show you the whole process here. Like I say, this belt here, usually you have like it's a one piece, and then you have a lacing at each end, and then, like I say, you join them together. Like you can see, I don't know if you can see here. No, I guess the camera probably won't pick it up, but right now I had the tension off the belts here. It's yeah, I got the safety. Don't worry, folks. I got the safety lock in place, and the baler is held up in place here, so I can safely work around and inside the baler. But anyways, yeah, here's some right here. This is what they look like when they're together, laced together. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna show you folks the process here right away, and on this other belt here, when I got this baler had a lot of torn belts in it. The baler overall itself was in relatively good shape. Like, I mean, it was a lower hour baler, but somebody didn't take care of it very well, and they were, I mean, like rough on what they were putting in the baler or whatever. They tore up the tore up a lot of the belts and stuff, so I had bought another used set of belts off another farmer that was getting rid of, I don't know if he was retiring or quitting or whatever. He had a spare set of belts in his shed, so he put them for sale, and I, as usual, I always seem to track down these deals, so kind of used a few belts that I had and a few of what he had, and I made a set or whatever of the best belts. These have been going for quite a few years here. Unfortunately, most of them are all one piece, except I think for two have a splice in them, and this one here that I've fixed here now has got a splice here, which is like a 2.5 foot piece here. What happens is, you can see here with the stress, they get caught somewheres, and then right behind the lacing here with all the flexing here, right where my thumb is here, where my nail you're showing you here, they get a crack that starts to run here from flexing over these the rollers in the baler back and forth, because they're fed up and down through a series of rollers on the front and back side of the belts. And like I say, when the chamber expands, it's what makes room for the bale inside as it grows until you hit your maximum size, and then you tie and dump, and then the system resets itself and away you go again. So these have 8 belts in them, so there's a fair bit to maintain, but I mean, once they're in good shape and you're watching, well, they last years and years. I think the last time I really did any service work on these belts was like 8-9 years ago, you know, type of thing. So, and I baled a lot of hay with it since then. So doing a little bit of this is not the worst thing in the world to do a little bit of maintenance. So anyways, I'm going to bring this over in front of the shop on the step there, and we're going to these belts are what they've also got different styles of belts too. They've got this is called a mini rough top, which there's like a little diamond pattern. This is already worn half smooth. They're worn down. At some point here I'm going to have to get a new set of belts. But then they have what they call the large diamond pattern, which is kind of like what John Deere uses. And then Case IH and some of the other ones, I believe like Heston and some of the other ones, use what they call a chevron style, which is a zigzag gripper pattern on the belt. You can use any of those belts in any baler. You can switch them back and forth. It's just companies, their own preferences. The belt suppliers or the industrial belt suppliers make different patterns of belts or whatever, just for everybody. As usual, it's a marketing ploy basically to try to distinguish themselves one from the other. But it all does the same. They all do the same thing or serve the same purpose. So anyways, we're gonna get on it here and bring you folks back here in a second here. We're gonna go and I'll show you the whole process here of how to relace this. So okay, here we go. Okay, so anyways, as you can see here, what I'm doing, I've laid this out here. Like, now you have to trim your ends on these belts. You got to make them nice and square so that the belt runs true in the machine, because if you have your end cut a little bit cockeyed, what's going to happen is the belt won't track straight in the machine, and then it'll start rubbing, and then you will catch the lacing and rip it for sure in the framing of the machine, so in the baler, that is. So anyways, you have to I use a carpenter's square, lay it on here, and then I just use a piece of just soapstone chalk and just scribble a line on here, any kind of colored marker that you can distinguish. This just leaves a very, very light trace. It won't show up on camera, but to the eye I can see just an outline of it. And what I found best is for cutting these rubber belts, you can use like an Olfa, a box cutter, utility knife type, or whatever. You gotta have a really, really sharp blade and use your square as an edge. You can cut them that way. I've done it that way, but it's slow and it's hard because these are a triple ply Kevlar reinforced belt, so they are tough. They have to be to take the punishment of years and years of wear in these. It's an imperfect environment. Let's put it that way. Like you're not. It's not running on a true like an industrial conveyor system where it's always running in a nice straight line, and in balers or whatever, you have different variables of different feed rates of hay coming in and different material, and it's these belts move, they flex around a lot, so they do surprisingly well for what they have to put up with. But anyways, you can see here I already cut one here before. This one was half ripped here on the longer piece. So anyways, on this repair piece here, I'm going to cut this now. What I use is literally just a pruning shear of some sort or whatever, but it cuts a nice straight line and it works really well. I've had this thing for years. I've used it for cutting rubber belting of all kinds. Not everyone works. I've tried a few different yard and garden or pruning shears, and they just jam. They will not work. But for whatever reason, this old shear works really good in cutting rubber belting. It does if you take your time and just take little bites at a time, it'll cut through a 1/2 inch rubber belt, no problem. These belts are less than a quarter inch, something like maybe 3/16 of an inch, something like that thick. But like I say, they've got 3 layers of rubber and Kevlar and nylon in them, and I think some polyester. So they're a pretty tough pretty tough compound, and the rubber compound in them is pretty good too. So, anyways, okay, I'll try and get the camera set up the best I can here, and I'll show you how I cut it with these shears here. Hang on. Like I say, I have a fine, maybe it'll show up on camera here. I made like I say, with a chalk, a fine line here on the just behind the lacing. Now when you're done cutting this, they got this rough top on here, and before you crimp your new clippers or lacings in here, what you have to do is what they call skiv the top of the belt, which is take off like a 1/16 of an inch, a real thin layer of that the rough top, or the to get down to you still want to leave rubber. You can't get down into the fiber of the belt, because if you do that, well, then you're compromising the integrity of the belt. So you can't do that. All you're doing is just taking the textured surface off here is what you're doing. You're taking off and this, like I say, it's called a diamond rough top, but it's that textured surface. On different belts it's different, they got different grip patterns, whatever, but you just need to remove that grip pattern so you have a nice smooth, almost like the back side. You don't do anything on the back side of these belts. You leave alone. You don't but on the front side you have to skiv it, they call it, or skeeve it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, you remove that upper rough part or whatever, and get down to smooth belting again, so that your crimping has something to bite into proper. Because if it's kind of open up too much, it'll pull out or rip out. So you have to have it biting down good. So anyways, this is just how I do it here. Just follow the line, like I say, just little 1/2 or 1/4 inch bites at a time. It'll take you 5 minutes or whatever. Like I say, this is pretty tough stuff or whatever. This, when I did this, when I first got the baler, like I say, about 9 years ago, 8-9 years, I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's, time goes, as we all know. Probably more like 10 years ago already, I guess. But anyways, when I got the baler, like I say, a lot of the belts were pretty ripped up. The ends, that is, like the lacings, were somebody had, like I say, had been baling in probably around old farmstead sites and stuff like that, because I even found a piece of a broken fence post in the, I think it was a piece of fence post or a corral plank or something or whatever in the chamber of the baler. So you knew what they had been getting pretty rough, or didn't care what it was. I think it was like an employee of a large farm or feedlot type of thing that owned this baler. So unfortunately, employees don't treat equipment like people that own it themselves, like me or others. So anyways, well, it didn't take that long to cut it. I'm almost done here already. There we go. And just like that, we've got a clean edge. Like I say, now I got to skiv this back about something like 3/4 of an inch or something like that. You take the rough surface back about 3/4 of an inch, and it gives enough clearance for those the clippers to bite into. And what I do is I taper, put a little bit of on these belts. You're supposed to have one side, you can leave it cut square across, but on the other side you're supposed to put like a 45-degree or a little bit less of an angle on the edges, so it doesn't catch, because it'll catch when it's going through the baler. What happens is these edges, if they're left square, if you have the belt turned the wrong way, what'll happen is it'll catch in the framework or the guides, and you will rip or tear the lacings again or whatever. So what I do is what I did from day one is I put they tell you in the owner's manual you only have to put an angled edge on the one side. You don't have to do both, but I do both, so that way it's unidirectional. I can you don't have to have it fed into the baler in one particular direction. I can run it either way, front or back, you know, forwards, backwards, it doesn't matter. It's just for simplicity of service. If I have to pull a belt, I think all the years of baling, like I say, in almost 10 years of baling with this baler, I've only had to pull a couple belts, I think once or twice in all those years, for some other service work, where I had to pull a roller out or whatever to do a major bearing upgrade or whatever. And now while I was at it, I changed a bunch of bearings, so that's I didn't actually pull all the belts out. I just pulled the keeper wire out of the lacing just to give me some extra slack so that I could work without fighting with myself. But anyways, okay, we're gonna get on. We're gonna get this back to the front of the shop here, and I'll run skiv this off here a little bit, and then we'll get this in. I've got a lacing tool. It's called a vice lace. Yeah, a vice lacer. You put it in a vise and then you clamp the new whatchamacallit. I'll get you folks set up and show you the whole process there. Okay folks, don't mind the mess. This is just the front of my shop door here, and well, anybody on a busy farm or contractor that whatever, like me, do multiple things, you always seem to have a continuous mess of crap going on in front of your shop. But anyways, getting on to it here, like I say, I'm gonna skiv the end of that belt there a little bit, and remove that rough top surface. So here we go. I don't mark it out or do anything beforehand. I just they got little lines in there, and I just follow a line. When I originally did it, I learned quick how to deal with it. So like I say, I've only done a couple of repairs in all that time since then, if that. I don't. It's been a long time since I've touched. Probably 5 years since the last time I actually had to repair one, and that was just one side. So like I say, they go a long time. They're pretty good once you do them. They only last so long though. The clippers, the little lacings, they do get worn, and at some point they do start to kind of pull out of the belt. Just stress from years of use. The belts get a little bit dry, and at that point really you should change them. But if they're not ripped or torn lengthways or anything like that, or got any big holes punched in them, I'll just keep running them until you can't run them anymore, until there's nothing left. That's the most economical thing you do as a small homestead farmer. So anyways, get on with it. Here we go. Now when I'm doing this, I am putting very light. I am just barely tickling this. Like, you do not dig into this with the grinder or whatever, because you'll burn right in here in no time, and you'll go through into the inner plies of the belt. So you don't want to do that. What I'm doing is just feathering it ever so slightly with the grinder, just like I say, taking off this rough surface, just smoothing it out so the clipping has something to bite into. But anyways, this is the finished product here. When you're done here, you get that rough surface, textured surface off it, and then now we're ready to get it laced up, and I'll get a new lacing strip in the tool, and we'll get this set up in the vise, and I'll try and get you folks set up here where I'm not going to hit the camera here, and we'll show you the final process of getting this laced, and then hopefully we can get it back in the baler and show you the whole repair done from beginning to end, so to speak here. So anyways, what we have here is called the vise mending belt mending tool. This is a 7-inch model, or 7-inch of capacity, or actually it's 7.5, almost 8-inch actually, but this is made specifically for doing baler belts. This is an original clipper tool. It's an OEM tool from the company. Most farm dealerships that sold this style of belting or whatever, sold balers with this type of belting, would sell. They usually offer these tools. Not everybody, but my local dealers here at the time, if you bought balers that had these belts in them, they offered the tool along with the lacing. This is called a 4.5, number 4.5 size clipper lacing. Now what you do is you take it's kind of like a V-shaped when they're open. This tool has got a whole bunch of little slots in here, and they've got a cavity underneath here, and you take and you set this lacing down in here, and it drops down in those recesses, and then they've got this keeper pin here, this rod that you little keeper wire that you stick through here, and it holds it so the lacings are all even, so they're not all different heights up and down or whatever. You have to have them level and even. So that's what I'm doing here now. Here I'm setting this in here. You get it pushed down into those recessed slots, and then you feed this wire through here, like what I'm doing here now. You feed it through, and then there. Now it's held in place. And when they ship these lacings, what they do is they put like a reinforced fiber paper on them to hold these clips together, because once this paper is off, they would fall all over the place, and they don't hold themselves up. So what you do is you take and cut this paper. Once it's held down, you do not cut this paper before you the keeper paper. Make sure you don't cut yourself. The way I'm going about it here, I'm liable to. Okay. So you cut it on both sides. I cut it there. And there. And you remove that paper. There's a paper on the back side also, but you don't worry about that. You just you put it, just leave it in there, and you clamp it in, and it's not an issue. Now this is what it looks like. They got all these little razor sharp little jaws, like pin needle ends or whatever. That's what punctures or enters the belt when this clamps. Now, like I say, it's set in the vise. I've got a heavy-duty steel vise here. Like if you got a cheap little shitty 4-inch no-name brand Chinese-made vise or whatever that you picked up at Harbor Freight or Princess Auto or wherever, if you're in Canada or the U.S., they aren't going to cut the mustard. You need something like a big 8-inch heavy-duty industrial vise. In this case, this is a 6-inch vise, but this is a homemade all steel welded vise that my dad made years ago. It's got a great big screw bolt in it or whatever, so yeah, it can you'll see here right away. But anyways, so you know, like I say, this has been prepped. This is clean, it's straight, and that's the other thing. You got to make sure your end of your belt is cut even to square to your side, and so it runs track straight, they call it. And then you set it down in here, make sure that it's recessed all the way in, like that. And line up your clipping. Now these clips are a little bit wider than the belt, than what's needed. So it doesn't matter, you'll have a few on the end that'll just barely catch the edge of the belt or miss it altogether, but that's fine. We'll just pick out pull those out or whatever on the end there that's not needed. Because if you have one right on the edge of the belt, usually what'll happen is they'll tip or they rip the edge of the belt, so it kind of starts the process of breaking the belt down, which is not what you want. So you're better off to remove them one or two in, and then where it's got a good positive bite in the main body of the belt, so to speak, and that way you'll get a lot more life out of it. So anyways, you just start the initial process to start it. Center this is just work it in. Yeah, as you can see, my shop is a friggin' disaster. My workbench is no longer a workbench, it's a storage space or storage area. So anyways, once you get it roughly halfway in. This vise doesn't have a particularly long handle on it, so I don't, I mean, it's longer than most, but it's kind of proportionate to the size of the vise. That won't be enough to fully close it. So, yep, cheater pipe. And only to a certain degree, because you got to be careful, because some vices will not take this. If you try this, you'll break them. This, like I say, is a heavy-duty steel vise. Not a cast iron vise, it's a welded steel out of steel plate. My dad made that like 50 years ago, when he was a young man. 50, 60 years ago probably. When he was welding all the time, so. Anyways, that's how you start it. Now it's bit in. Because my vise is slightly narrower than this vise tool, what I do is move it over back into the main jaw so it's not sticking out, so I want a positive bite. And what they have on here is a little, what they call a pincer clip, a sliding clip. What it does is you move it to one particular spot. It catches 3 or 4 of these little lacings, or the clips, and it'll finish pushing it home the rest of the way. So now what you got to do is work your way all the way down the belt. So I will give it a good snug, each one all the way. Back it off, reopen it, slide this over. It's a 1 inch clip. So you move it over 1 inch at a time, and then work your way down, all the way down as you're going, like you see me do here. And what that does is, this little clip here, what it does is putting pressure on certain points 1 inch at a time, and it's closing it, fully closing it. You get the idea. I'll work my way through the whole length here, inch at a time. You do it, 6 or 7 times. Make your way, boom, 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 all the way down. Get it pinched, and I'll bring you back here. I'm not. You guys are gonna, well, whatever. You get the idea. You don't need to see me opening and closing a vise 6 times or whatever. This is how it works. So I'll bring you back when I'm done, and I'll show you the final little finishing process that I use here to do this. Okay. So, anyways, I've finished running this little finishing or setting clip, I guess they would call it, the final process of setting the lacings. So anyways, this belt is now repaired, and it's still attached in the tool holding it in there. So I'm going to pull this pin and remove it from the lacing tool here now. Just pull the pin out, and just like that, there you go. See? You have a nice finished laced product. I will be putting this away. And now what I do, and this is not recommended actually by the manufacturer, I've read up on this, but this is kind of the old-fashioned way. I noticed they seem to kind of almost, they're 95 or 90% of the way in, but they're always not quite seated all the way. Now this is, like I say, the clipper company, I know they did not recommend this, but years ago, and some people don't have this vise tool. So if you don't have the tool, what a lot of people do will you got to kind of eyeball it as to where, like, what's nice with this tool is you have your recommended depth, or the factory set depth. It's like a depth gauge. You set it on there. You got the pin to hold it straight. What you can do is take these lacings and just cut like some guys will literally just split the paper down the face, open it up, set it on here, eyeball it, and then set it on an anvil and literally peen them with a ball peen hammer, and we'll work it on an anvil and drive them in. Years ago, people didn't have the tool. This is what you did. Some people, I guess, maybe I've heard guys still do that. That's not exactly a very, you can end up with a very uneven lacing, well, whatever, your depth or whatever isn't exactly
very plus you can crush clips and get them cockeyed in there and they won't start straight. This holds it in place and does a very nice job. But like I say, not recommended by the company. But what I do is once I have them now set in here to give it a little final finish, I do peen it a little bit on the back side of this vise here. This has got a bit of an anvil surface, so not I don't use the round end, I use the flat end of the hammer. And don't get too close to the end because you'll crush the end of your lacing. Then you can't get your lace or your keeper wire in there. I just work the edge over here, the back edge of it, where they bite into the belt. I just give it I just work it a little bit to. I do one side and then I turn it over and I do the other side. There, that's it. Now don't get carried away and start wailing on it because you don't need to do that. What's going to happen is you're just going to crush the hoop. It's a whole bunch of little hoops or hooks is what this is. It bites in. So anyways, so we're almost done. I got one or two of these that are sticking out right at the edge here of the belt, and they're in a bad spot here, and they're not going to hold. I've seen this, I've done this before. Try and get every single one right to the edge. What happens is it starts to rip the edge of the belt, so it puts too much pressure here. You need it to inset a little bit from the edge of the belt. That way you get, like I say, a good positive, whatchamacallit. See, it's barely hanging on here, so I'm just going to remove one or two of these because they're literally not doing anything anyways. They're not doing any good where they are here, so just use a pair of pliers, and of course my good pliers are somewhere else. Oh yeah, they're over at the baler because I needed them there. So anyways, this is just a crappy old pair on the workbench, but anyways, there. That's it. Now the rest are fine. There was just one that was a little bit wishmaw, but I don't know if you folks can see this. Try and get it as close to the camera as I can. This is what they look like. They've got, like I say, very sharp. They're not barbed ends, but they are razor sharp. And this is what it looks like when it's closed in. This is the upside. This would be where your wire fits through here, the upper part here. And this bottom here, these teeth here, that's what squeezes in and bites positively. This punctures or perforates the belt, and then it's bit in there. I don't know how many there is in a per inch. I've never counted, but there's several dozen or whatever in a length of 6 or 7 or 8 inch or whatever your belt is width is. So anyways, that's what that looks like. So okay, we're gonna go and lace this back together and get this section laced to the other belt, and then I'm gonna feed this whole monstrosity, try and get it back through the baler. If you got a helper, it goes that much better to feed your belt back up through the baler. So, but today here again, as usual, I'm working by myself. So I don't know. We'll set up the camera if you're interested, and we'll see you. You guys will see me fighting with this here, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, folks. What I'll show you here is how these are held or kept in place is by these little keeper wires. What they are is on this particular style, it's a little braided piece of steel cable with a plastic coating on it. Well, what happens is once they've been in here a while, they get little divots worn in the plastic, and that's what locks them in and holds them in place. But for the first little bit until you run them in or they get those little divots worn in them, they got these little crimp-on ferrules on the ends that you just use like an automotive wire crimper, and you just crimp it on about 1/8 of an inch or 3/16 of an inch from the end.
and you feed it through when you. I'll show you right away here what I'm doing. The ones I have here, these had been changed here not long ago. This one wire here is an older one. It's already worn through, starting to rub the plastic or the little wire cable here. Once they get a certain amount of wear on them, you have to change them. Obviously I changed one here at some point because this one here isn't worn as bad as the other one, so I'll reuse this one because it's fine. So what you do is you put these, line these up like so, and intermesh them, and you just make sure your belts are running in line with each other. If not, then you find where they're best lined up. And then you just take your little wire keeper here, and you feed it through, just like that. Oh, missed it, see? Just like that. If you're not careful, you can bungle this up, so get it in there. Come on. Like so. And there we go. It's in. And that'll keep your belt in place. So, and then I'll feed it up, finish feeding up through the machine, and get it all laced up there, and then oh, cavalry has arrived. I got help just in time. So exactly what I want to, exactly what you want to hear when you're doing jobs like this. So, okay, bring you folks back in a second. We'll get this all back together. Okay, so anyways, place these back together. Actually, I've got a keeper wire that I use. Just a hardened pin. You get it lined up, started, and then we got new lacing mixed with old here, so that's making things a little bit interesting here. Ah, come on. I'll let you hold that side. I'll get this side. You bet. New one don't want to play nice with the old one here.
Quite the same alignment.
Well, there's some of them are a little bit tipped or pulled or whatever because they're worn in from their old other. Oh, oops! Come on.
Halfway. Yeah, a little curls on the belt too. Yeah, flat screwdriver just to top them over.
Yeah. There's one on top of the other one there. Don't want to.
Yep, that's a scoop.
Come on. Oh, we're a little bit
inch from the end.
oh, those cats. A couple of bobcats hanging around in my yard all of a sudden here, so they're making the dogs go nuts every night. So.
In there? Yep, it was. Came through.
Whoops, sometimes it'll look like it's through the
end was popped through. Whoops, just missing that end.
that one is tipped out of there. I don't know, that's those ones that like to miss there, like on each end there, that one here. So I think I'm just going to pick the plier because they shouldn't have been in there making this.
Too far. Over there now. Mister.
This one's already worn, it's got the grooves, so that makes it harder, it bites everything. So there's no weight again.
Yep, there.
It's in, and just lift the tailgate up and take the pressure off the lock, and
close it, and they're ready to roll. So that's how you relace a baler belt. So, well, folks, I think we're going to call this a video. I've had a long day. Had to cut the video short there. My brother stopped by there and was helping me finish up there a little bit on the baler there. I was supposed to be done with it by the time he got here, because I was moving the tractor to another location and he was giving me a hand. So this time I didn't have to use the dirt bike to move a tractor. But anyways, finished getting that belt laced up and back in that baler there, and been a very interesting day. Had a cattle break out and had a cow running around the yard here earlier in the day and fixing fence, and then they decided to roll their water trough halfway across the corral and get into all kinds of trouble and mischief, and among other things. So it was a busy day here of around the farm of fixing and repairing and keeping things together. So anyways, just like to say thank you to everybody for stopping in and checking out this video, and I appreciate the support you folks show by coming back time after time, and thank you to all of you, the new viewers that for the first time that have stopped in and checked this out. So if you don't all mind, you know what to do. Leave a like, share, subscribe. It goes a long ways for us small YouTube content creators. We make up the bulk of what YouTube is actually. Many of us are not monetized, and just by giving a simple thumbs up and a like goes a long ways in well, promoting the YouTube algorithms and our channels. So it kind of validates what we do. Regardless, I do it anyways because I'm having fun doing it, and that's what it's, for me, what it's all about. But anyways, thanks everybody, and we'll see you all on the next one. Until then, take care.